Hello, my name is Diana Cueto, and today I'm going to be discussing the Supreme Court case, United States versus Yates. So John Yates was the captain of a commercial fishing boat that went on an adventure to catch red groupers with his crew in the Gulf of Mexico. The captain's ship was stopped by a federal agent who inspected the catch and realized that Yates had undersized red groupers that violated federal conservation regulations. The Florida recreational saltwater fishing regulations state that these fish are not supposed to be smaller than 20 inches if you catch them in the Atlantic Ocean or the Gulf. Instead of listening to the federal agent's citation to keep the underweight catch segregated until the ship returned to shore, when they could deal with this matter appropriately, Yates decided to tell his crew to dump these small red groupers back into the ocean. The story became a Supreme Court case in 2015 because of Yates' offense. You know, such an innocent doing would never, it would have never crossed my mind before taking this class that it was going to take this case so far into the Supreme Court. I chose this case as well because it has so many different political ideologies from judges and Congress. The law itself should be read carefully, as the criminal defendant can interpret many meanings differently. When a law is construed briefly, should we punish the prosecutor to the maximum penalty or focus on finding a positive solution? In this case, not being in prison for 20 years over this offense. As a regular citizen, should the title of the case matter, or should one look very carefully into the statute's wording? So Yates was prosecuted for violating Provision 18, Title 18 of the United States Code, Section 1519, which states that a person will be penalized for destroying or concealing any record, document, or tangible object to obstruct a federal investigation. Violating this statute can punish a person by going to prison for up to 20 years. This statute came to fruition from the Sarbanes-Oxley Act in 2002, which was meant to battle accounting fraud and is known as the anti-shredding provision, where a person knowingly alters, destroys, mutilates, conceals, covers up, falsifies, or makes a false entry in any record, document, or tangible object with the intent to impede, obstruct, or influence in a federal investigation. This statute was established after the collapse of Enron Corporation and WorldCom. So Yates argued that the fish did not fall into the definition of tangible object. A tangible object was defined in the case itself as only objects that were used to record or preserve information, not all objects in the physical world, and did not include fish. When defining the same word today, fish are included in tangible objects. Yates' argument entailed of this law not applying to him because he's not dealing with financial fraud or documents. It is tailored for accountants. Instead, all he did was throw the caught fish back into the ocean. His argument was actually very persuasive to the court. The court opinion was made up of Justice Ginsburg, Chief Justice Roberts, Breyer, Sotomayor, and Justice Alito. Yates persuaded them because Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002 was written in reference to accountants and financial persons. They argued that describing a fish in this case as a tangible object might not be appropriate, as the definition is open to many interpretations. The court opinion revolved around the fact that a statute should not be construed so strictly. On the other hand, Justice Kagan, Justice Scalia, Justice Kennedy, and Justice Thomas were not persuaded by Yates' argument. They state that the term tangible object is broad and clear. Congress uses broad language to capture and protect all destructible evidence. So Yates is arguing about a plain statute. Essentially, Yates was tried in a trial court and lost. Went on to the Court of Appeals and lost. And finally, the case was taken all the way to the Supreme Court, which granted cert to Yates. So for our outcome, Provision Title 18 of the United States Code, Section 1519, was created as a part of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002 to protect investors and restore trust in financial markets following the fall of Enron Corporation. Because the statute was ambiguous, John Yates, the fisherman who ordered his crew to dump the underweight fish back into the ocean, argued to prove he was not acting with malicious intentions, as someone would when stealing financial records and fraud, or doing fraud, committing fraud. The court case was overseen by honorable judges whose opinions drove the issue from trial court to the Court of Appeals and then to the Supreme Court, as mentioned previously in the previous slides. The Supreme Court case, the Supreme Court reversed the 11th Circuit judgment and remanded the case. It was a 5-4 decision, 1 concurrence and 1 dissent. Therefore, the court ruled that fish are indeed a tangible object because they are of physical form. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you guys listening to my presentation.